Good morning. I'm Phoebe Thomas Sorgan, today's liturgist. Our service starts with the choir singing Across the Great Divide by Kate Wolf. And happy birthday, Melissa.
Hey, happy birthday. Ready?
Gone away.
How wonderful. Thank you, Melissa, Margaret, and Barbara. Our choir today is a trio. More singers welcome in the choir. They rehearse on Tuesday nights on Zoom. And thank you also, our guest musician, Ian, for the lovely guitar solo and accompaniment. Welcome, everyone, to the Berkeley Fellowship of Unitarian Universalists, including our friends on Zoom. Let's wave to our friends on Zoom. We welcome all of you in the fullness of who you are. We value the richness of all kinds of diversity, and we hope that you'll feel at home here. We are part of a free religious tradition that honors the loving heart, the open mind, and growing together within beloved community. Please turn cell phones off. If you have an announcement, write it down and give it to Jeff, who is seated in the back there. On the table to your left is a book in which you may write joys or sorrows to be read aloud later this morning. We're very lucky today. We thought we weren't going to get to hear Reverend Ben preach for a few months because he's training in a new capacity as a chaplain, I think a full-time job. And we've been fortunate that he's been preaching here about once a month for, I think, several years now. And so we're very glad that he was available on short notice. He was just notified Friday that Reverend Bonnie Dlott is ill. So he's filling in for her today. He's well loved here at BFUU. His ministry spans nearly 30 years. He served as a parish minister here at BFUU for 4 years, a hospice chaplain, and a social justice community minister throughout Northern California. He has 2 kids and loves spending time with his 3-year-old grandson. As a proud parent of a transgender child, he's also an ally and avid advocate for LGBTQ plus rights. And we'll be hearing from him later today. In a moment, I'll sound a chime to lead us into a brief, silent meditation. So relax, get comfy, and follow your breath to inner stillness until you hear the chime again.
Good morning. Good morning. Is this on? Okay. Good morning. Hello. Surprise, I'm here. More about that later. But as we begin our service this morning, I just want to wish you all a happy Pride Parade Day in San Francisco. I'm very happy that this month of Pride we still hold and cherish in all the ways that there are to love in the world. Our opening words today are from Thomas Merton. We are living in the greatest revolution in history, a huge, spontaneous upheaval of the entire human race. Not a revolution planned and carried out by any particular party, race, or nation, but a deep elemental boiling over of all the inner contradictions that have ever been, a revelation of the chaotic forces inside everybody. This is not something we have chosen, nor is it something we are free to avoid. Come, let us worship together.
This land was Huchun territory, ancestral and stolen land of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, ancestors and descendants of the Verona Band of Alameda County. We honor the original inhabitants, the documented 5,000-year history of a vibrant community at the West Berkeley Shell Mound, the Ohlone people who still live here and beyond and who treasure this land, and all ancestors and descendants of slavery and attempted genocide. U.S. history is heartbreaking. Colonist descendants still benefit from land theft and other exploitation. Rematriation and extensive reparations are long overdue. Meanwhile, we may pay a tax-deductible Shumi land tax at the website sogolreate-landtrust.org. Don't record any part of this service today. We record it, and our sermons are posted on our website. Zoomers, consider lighting a chalice or candles now while Reverend Ben lights the chalice here, a symbol of our tradition and the spirit that lives in each of us. Please read with me from the printed program. Let love be the spirit of this congregation and service its goal. This is our living covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truths in life, and to help one another. We light our red candle to mourn Black lives taken by police and other violence, to proclaim that Black do matter, and to express our commitment to Black liberation, reparations, and the end of slave capitalism. Let's join the choir in singing Hope Lingers On by Lissa Schneckenberger. Words are in the program.
Okay. Yeah. My mother, when love is gone. My mother, when love is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. My father, when peace is gone. My father, when peace is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. I will not hate, and I will not fear in our darkest hour. Hope lingers here. My sister, when equality's gone. My sister, when equality's gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. My brother, with tolerance gone. My brother, with tolerance gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. I will not hate, and I will not fear in our darkest hour. Hope lingers here. My people, when honor is gone. My people, when honor is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. My my country. When justice is gone, my country. When justice is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. I will not hate, and I will not fear in our darkest hour. Hope lingers here. I will not hate, and I will not fear in our darkest hour. Hope lingers here.
That was great. It was fun to sing. We learned this morning. No, we learned a lot this morning. Now is the time I would like for you to join in an affirmational reading, number 470 in the silver hymnal, if you will. And these are words by Leonard Mason, which I think are appropriate. Your part is in italics. We affirm the unfailing renewal of life.
Rising from the earth, reaching for the sun, all living creatures shall fulfill themselves.
We affirm the steady growth of human companionship.
Rising from ancient cradles and reaching for the stars, people the world over shall seek the ways of understanding.
We affirm a continuing hope that out of every tragedy, the spirits of individuals shall rise to build a better world. May this be our hope and our prayer as we now enter a time of meditation and prayer. I invite you to release yourself of anything that may be in your lap or your hands or on your mind, to place your feet firmly on the floor. Feel the soles of your feet connect to the foundation that upholds us. Feel your body being supported by that chair or wherever you are at home. We invite you to now take a deep cleansing breath in and out and in and out at your own pace, as your body needs, to relinquish, to let go, to reclaim the source of life, which is breath. And hear this prayer for the earth by Barbara Deming. O Spirit of love, known to us in many ways, called by us many names, that flows against our flesh, sets it trembling, moves across it as across grass, erasing every boundary that we accept, and swings the doors of our lives open wide. This is the prayer we sing. Save our perishing earth. Spirit that hears each one of us, hears all that is, listens, hear us out. Inspire us now in words and deeds. Our own pulse beats in every stranger's throat. And also there is within the flowered ground, beneath our feet, a listening, a wisdom. Teach us to listen. We can hear it in the water, in wood, and even in stone. For we are earth of this earth, and we are bone of its bone. This is the prayer we sing, for we have forgotten this, and so the earth is perishing. Amen.
You may have noticed some changes in the order of things in your program, so we'll just go with the flow. Joys and sorrows now. The ritual of joys and sorrows is a time to share what's in our hearts and ask for community prayers or support. I ask for prayers for Eris, my 25-year-old niece who has cancer. And I shared the joy of our second singing protest Friday night on University Avenue between Bonar and Acton. We had over 20 people. We all had a great time, and this singing protest will continue on the second and fourth Fridays at that same location by The Way. You'll look for the sign, The Way, on University Avenue. Second and fourth Fridays, 5 o'clock. Ben shares that sadly, Bill Meyers died on June 26. His fearlessly and fiercely compassionate progressive journalism will be sorely missed in these times. Progressives should reclaim the symbols of American democracy. There are flag pins at the welcome table. Thank you, Steve. And happy birthday, Melissa. Eleanor says, I have had the privilege of enjoying my first week of retirement. I miss my beloved colleagues and look forward to more music and more rest. Also, rebellion. Congratulations, Eleanor. And we look forward to hearing more of your singing. And thank you for joining the choir. In the last song, our choir expanded from 3 to 5. Thank you, Betsy, also. Happy Pride Parade Day in San Francisco and other places as well. As a proud parent, I am happy that my faith tradition has long supported all the ways there are to be and to love in the world. Thank you, Reverend Ben. Now we say aloud the names of anyone else we want to send support and loving energy to. And we can call them out, softly or loudly, all together. Jonah, Jennifer, Anna. Now for a healing ritual with water and stones. Those who wish may walk down the center aisle, choose a stone or more than one stone, symbolizing your concerns, and immerse it in the basin of water, which represents our community. we've shared and for all we will share together, may we be grateful. Please join me in singing a Buddhist metta meditation. It's in the program. And I'll start harmonizing after a while, but you go ahead and stay on melody if you wish, some of you at least. May I be safe, may I be well, may I know joy, may I be free, may you be safe, may you be well, may you know joy, may you be free, may they be safe, may they be well, may they know joy, may they be free, may all be safe, may all be well, may all know joy, may all be free. So now our guest musician, Ian Faquini, and the birthday girl, Melissa, will sing Blackbird by Paul McCartney.
We just rehearsed this earlier, and I also have severe allergies, so, we'll do our best, but it's a beautiful song. Oh, I should take this off.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken lies and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. You were only waiting for this moment to Nice. Happy birthday.
How perfectly lovely. And you, most of you may know that the Beatles, that this song was written as a reaction to racism and as a challenge to racism.
A challenge we continue to face, those of us brave enough to do so. I just want to say again, kind of why I'm here. I received a call on Friday afternoon from Margaret, which I'm always happy to hear from Margaret, informing me that the assigned or speaker, a colleague of mine, Reverend Bonnie Dlott, who was to speak on hope, had contracted COVID, as you may have heard. And so more than happy to step in. So I drove up from Santa Cruz this morning to be with you all, happy to be here. And I did reach out to Bonnie, and she's more than happy to bring her message of hope to you in the future. And I hope that you call upon her to do so. I also, before I begin, I want to say that although I may be away from this pulpit for a while, and I cherish being here, I was the pastor here for 4.5 years. And now my call as a hospice chaplain full-time takes me away from Sunday pulpit supply, except when required. So don't create any more emergencies. Okay. But I'm happy to say, and I just want to put an unabashed and a plug. On July 13th, my son, Theo, who grew up in this church, will do his preaching debut here in this pulpit. And I hope as many of you and your friends can come and hear his words of hope and wisdom on Sunday, July 13th. And thank you, Phoebe, for your leadership and for all those who make this possible. And happy birthday, Melissa, and your wonderful choices in music. And Ian, welcome here. You sound wonderful. Okay, with all that aside, so I've brought to you a message based upon, well, I'll get into it. I want to do the readings first. And the first one is from Adrienne Cecile Rich, who was an American poet, an essayist, a prominent feminist here in America and around the world. She was called one of the most widely read and influential poets of the second half of the 20th century, and was credited with bringing the oppression of women and lesbians to the forefront of poetic discourse. So this is a brief reading from our Singing the Living Tradition hymnal. It's an excerpt from her larger work, The Dream of a Common Language. It's entitled Transcendental Etude. No one ever told us we had to study our lives, make of our lives a study, as if learning natural history or music, that we should begin with the simple exercises first and slowly go on trying the hard ones, practicing till strength and accuracy become one with the daring to leap into transcendence. And in fact, we can't live like that. We take on everything at once before we've even begun to read or mark time. We're forced to begin in the midst of the hardest movement, the one already sounding as we are born. Second reading for today is by the Reverend Dr. Mark Morrison Reed. He is primarily recognized as a historian of the African American experience within liberal religion, and he has written or edited more than 7 books and 3 curricula, including Black Pioneers in a White Denomination, Unitarian Universalism. He says this of the power of religious community. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. And once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. It is the church that assures us that we are not struggling for justice on our own, but as members of a larger community. The religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength too limited to do all that must be done. Together our vision widens and our strength is renewed. Now the third reading is a song, a brief one, and you know it, so don't stop me if you've heard it, but join along. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Thank you. So the title of my sermon this morning is really Something We Are Not Free to Avoid, which drew from that last line of the opening reading by Thomas Merton. And I find his words to be as relevant now as they were when they first appeared in a book of essays entitled Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander, 1966, an interesting title. To paraphrase, he says that we are living in the greatest revolution in history, a revelation of the chaotic forces inside each of us. We did not choose it, nor is it something we are free to avoid. I don't know about your experience, but throughout my lifetime growing up in church culture, and for the past 30 plus years serving as a minister to the Unitarian Universalist congregations and causes, it has been my experience that religious communities on the whole, wait for it, are conflict avoidant. I don't think I just said anything revolutionary or revelatory, but it is simply true. In my experience, by and large, on any given Sunday, most of us are averse to controversy. In fact, it's probably safe to say from this pulpit that most people don't become a part of a religious community to engage in conflict, controversy, or discomfort. It is my experience, and you can nod or shake your head if you agree or disagree, that it is difficult sometimes for religious communities to even hear, let alone embrace, discomfort, difficult truths, or challenging calls to change. And this, I believe, is problematic for a prophetic church. For I also believe that it is true what Mark Morrison Reed has written, that the central task of the church is not to cuddle, calm, or even comfort us. Although in times of pastoral and personal challenges, that is certainly the role of a beloved community. To offer solace and strength and hope, support under duress. But according to our esteemed Black pioneer in this predominantly white denomination, it is not what he lifts up as the central task of our lives within the religious community. He points to something quite different. And it is this something quite different from the acquiescence and agreement and averseness to conflict we generally seek that I want to address today. For I believe it is this something quite different which is really the superpower of Unitarian Universalism. We just don't know it yet, but it is not something we can avoid any longer. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all, which once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. And together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed. Once felt, so feeling is the key element to unveiling the bonds that bind each to all, that creates connectedness and shared purpose among and between us, and is the essential element required for us to do what must be done. This inspires me, always, and it is one of my favorite readings from our hymnal. In fact, true confession, I have preached on this particular passage a lot. It inspires me because, simply stated, it gives me clarity of purpose. It gives me clarity of purpose but it also challenges me and it makes me uncomfortable. And it also frightens me to a degree. It frightens me because it means I need to allow myself to be open, vulnerable, and uncomfortable. Uncomfortable to delve deeper into understanding what it might mean in my life and what is required of me to unveil the bonds that bind me to everyone and everything all at once and all the time. This makes me uncomfortable because, well, it says right there, it requires me to feel, to open myself to all that deep, elemental boiling over of all the inner contradictions that have ever been. It invites me to a revelation of the chaotic forces inside everybody, with no one left out. And I'm not sure that I know we as a country, but I'm not sure that we as a religious movement are completely aligned with that essential requirement for beloved community, while we are still being averse to it. And I speak for myself here. I know that I, as a white, cisgender, heterosexual male, born in 1958, you can do the math, and raised in Indiana, have been enculturated, trained, and practiced to not feel too much on any given Sunday, or any day of the week for that matter. In fact, I know as a well-trained white, cisgender, heterosexual male born in 1958 and raised in Indiana, that I find it uncomfortable to even recognize my own feelings sometimes, let alone those of someone outside my sphere of experience. And yet, when I am completely honest with myself, I have come to understand that this aversion that I have to feeling, or for the purposes of this sermon, the aversion to unveiling the bonds that bind each to all, is a pretty common aversion among us in varying degrees, but by and large, I think it is true what Adrian Rich said in this other well-quoted passage, that no one ever told us that we had to study our own lives, make of our lives a study as if learning natural history or music. But we also know, if we've been around long enough, that by opening ourselves, by challenging ourselves to begin in the midst of the hardest movement, the one already sounding now loudly, to me this means that I, with each of us, are in need of learning how to unveil the bonds that bind each to all, that we need to help one another to learn to open ourselves to feeling beyond our own person, place, or position in life. And we do this in order to awaken to justice, to feel beyond our own complacency, protectionisms, and to understand beyond our well-entrenched comfort levels, to reach beyond our own experience, to unveil the connectedness we have in this network of mutuality called life, to ever discover the relationship amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. For once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. And that is the ultimate goal and purpose and outcome of any religious community. It is a we thing, no we thing, but a we thing, and an I thing, not an I thing. It's a we thing, but it's a large we thing. You're following me? English, who knew? That's a tall order. It's a demanding calling that requires some real skills, practices, studies, etudes, discoveries. And the good news is that it is the religious community that can widen our vision and renew our strength for the journey. Dismantling systemic racism, awakening to our historical complicity and current complacency wherever it shows up, and feeling the internal and collective spiritual processes necessary, we are not free to avoid such things. But we are capable, right here, right now, to become better equipped, to lean into, to learn and to grow into these practices, we have the capacity within each and every one of us for fulfilling this central task of beloved community, for letting the light of hope shine through us. That's the good news. And it exists right here and here and there and here and here and there and there and there and there and there. There is a prophet, mentor, an amazing human being named Bernice Johnson Reagan. Bernice Johnson Reagan co-founded the a cappella singing group Sweet Honey in the Rock. How many of you know Sweet Honey in the Rock? How many of you don't know Sweet Honey in the Rock? Write it down. You're welcome. Okay. Sweet Honey in the Rock, Bernice Johnson Reagan was literally the voice of the freedom movement since the 1960s, who once said that you can gauge the spiritual maturity of a group by three things. Would you like to hear what they are? Oh, I'm so glad. Good. 1, how well do we handle silence together? Can we simply be and breathe in the moment without the need to break the perhaps discomfort of silence in a room full of people? Can we unveil the spirit that prevails among us in reflection and prayer, or just the power of collective silence? Can we simply let the mystery be? Number 2, how well do we handle conflict? Are we able to hold the big feelings of members in the group, their pain and suffering and struggling, without rescuing or running from it? Are we able to forgive? Are we able to live with discomfort or collective pain? And thirdly, how well do we sing a cappella together? You might expect this from a singer, but her question really is, can each person find their voice, their own authentic voice, an expression of the Spirit moving in them? And can they discover the harmonies and allow the dissonances that come from the religious community committed to speaking, singing, acting together, to sing the harmonies of liberty? There is power in these three practices. To be in silence and allow the beating of your own heart to entrain itself to the beating of the heart of the community. Remza Menachem, author of My Grandmother's Hands, and I highly recommend this book to each of you, My Grandmother's Hands, says that such entrainment is necessary for bodies to heal from trauma together, from the systemic trauma of slavery, racism, oppression, misogyny, tyranny, of white supremacy, of gender dominance, which we are only now beginning to feel, to approach, to heal from. And we need to expand and embrace this practice of cardio entrainment, this capacity to unveil this superpower of healing among us. We do this already in small ways in our liturgical practices. Our liturgy is chock full of these entrainment practices when we light a chalice or speak words together. Have you ever wondered why responsive readings, call and responses, and communal prayers are so prevalent in worship services? I'll tell you. They are practices which exercise the bonds which build community, shared experience. When you have to listen as you also speak or sing, you are entraining your voice with that of others. You are finding your identity within the whole group. There is a physical, emotional, and psycho-spiritual empathy that arises. There is a transformational power in this. The good news is that we can draw upon those connections as we grow in spirit through discomfort and conflict, as well as in times of joy and celebration. When we sing, when we are silent, when we listen, we are not just going through liturgical motions. We are creating the beloved community in a way that benefits our own bodies, minds, and spirits, and deepens our connections with one another. And when we sing in harmony, a cappella, those spiritual, physical, and emotional entrainments are exponentially beneficial to our bodies, hearts, and souls. And my reminder this morning is that we as a people need to awaken again to these tasks, which the preacher says are unveiled through the bonds that bind each to all. We are living in a time when our heritage and our historical heroes are being looked at under a new light, through the lens of the white dominant culture that has perpetuated and benefited from its prolonged existence as the dominant culture in this country. And this is creating various degrees of well-deserved discomfort for some of us, but it is also extremely liberating. It is ultimately transformative for all of us. To speak the truth of the complicity of systemic racism, homophobia, sexism, misogyny, exceptionalism, tyranny in our world, in our society, in our communities, and in ourselves begins always with discomfort. You would not be human if it were otherwise. And we are trained to be averse to such discomfort. We are hardwired, in fact, to create protectionisms and distance and complacency and ambivalence to such difficult truths. We cocoon ourselves from such feelings at our own peril. We're only human. We're conditioned to respond to any threat, perceived or actual, that hits our system, and these are the choices we think to fight, flight, flee. There are, my brothers and sisters, other choices available to us, and we need the beloved community, the power of religious community, and a willingness to move beyond them if we are to find our voices and grow in this maturity, this spiritual maturity together. This is our great hope. In fact, as a people of faith and hope and love, we need to even expect to feel discomfort. I have a friend, Charles Dumond, who used to be the moderator of the UUA and a member of the congregation I served in San Mateo, who said from the pulpit, often when he would greet people, we greet you here this morning and we expect you to be uncomfortable about 11 to 17% of the time. Beautiful, disarming way to invite us into this natural discomfort of spiritual growth. And as the Reverend Dr. Mr. Fred Rogers has taught us, if something is human, it's mentionable. And if it's mentionable, it's manageable. There is the hope. To paraphrase again the words of my beloved Reverend Rob Eller Isaacs, who said so many times, our faith is in the conversation. Our faith is in the conversation. In that spirit, our faith is calling us to learn to speak about our feelings, to regulate them within the beloved community, and to listen to each voice as it emerges among us in its authenticity. In this way, our Unitarian Universalist faith and our hope in democracy will help us address the deep, elemental boiling over of all those inner contradictions that have ever been, of which Merton speaks. And we will begin, perhaps for the first time, to live into the revelation of the chaotic forces inside everyone. It is the church, the congregation, the religious community, this beloved body, which helps us unveil the bonds that bind each to all. It is our superpower. It is our hope. Come and let us exercise it now by singing with me again, I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Sing it like you know it. I know this rose will open. I know this fear will burn away. I know this fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Ashe, namaste, salam, shalom. Amen.
So in case you didn't know before, now you know why we love Reverend Ben and love to have him here sharing his wisdom with us. Thank you. I was thinking of, what's another, he spoke of fear, flight, or freeze, and what are better alternatives? And I thought, what's a good F word for another alternative? Well, yeah, there's that. Feeling, yes. And how about facing our friends? Facing our fears. Facing our fears in friendship, front on, negotiation, diplomacy. Yeah. We acknowledge and appreciate those who worked on this service. It takes a village. And thank you, Jeff and Paul, for doing sound and Zoom. Thank you, choir, and our guest musician, Ian. Thanks to attendees sharing our service in person or on Zoom. Our Zoomers today are Ben Birch, Bill Balderston, Jean Lieber, John Warner, Mike Gardner, and Virginia Hollins-Davidson. Thank you for coming. Announcements. Social Justice Committee meets on generally the third Sundays of the month after the lunch that follows our service, and everybody's welcome. And wonderful things come out of it. Like last month, Marjorie Mickles suggested having this sing-along protest, and now we've had 2 of them. And yeah, so Jeff has announcements.
Let's see, if Larry, our friend Larry, is in the hospital, and if you would like to visit him with us, Margaret and I and some other friends go there from time to time. You can ask us for the address, or you can come along with us. So we love the extra company, and thank you. Boy, isn't it great to be married? The History Club is coming up in about 10 days. The second Wednesday of July, and we're going to have 4 speakers. And I know one of them is going to talk about Barabbas. I don't know if you guys remember the story about Barabbas, the guy that was arrested the same night Jesus was arrested. Well, it turns out that guy is found in the writings of Josephus, I believe. So the argument about whether this guy, in the writings of Josephus, he's not called Barabbas, he's called Jesus, son of Gamala. So anyway, if you want to find out about stuff like that and other things, and the biggest announcement, do you want to do about the next service? Because it's probably written up.
Yeah, I have it.
Phoebe will handle that one. Listen up. She's going to say it soon. A big announcement about next Sunday's service is going to be really fun.
And did you say what time? Wednesday after next, the History Club is at what time?
Thank you. 6 o'clock for the potluck and 7 o'clock to 9 for the service.
Right here.
And streaming on YouTube.
And streaming on YouTube. Thank you, Paul.
Oh, all right. Okay. Please check your program and email newsletter for more announcements. If you're not yet on our mailing list, sign up at bfuu.org or see me later. Are there any newbies here? or folks we haven't seen in a while, or folks who haven't been here often, who may be willing to introduce yourselves briefly if you are comfortable doing so. Jeannie Waddell, welcome.
Jeannie Waddell.
Waddell.
Yeah. And I've lived in Berkeley for 33 years. I was here decades ago, but just the current situations, this was a perfect sermon for me to hear, because I just need to combine the spirituality and the social justice. So, thank you.
So glad to see you. Anybody else? And Tony, so good to see you again. We're glad you joined us. We'll have more time to connect after the service and hopefully in the future as well. Next Sunday, our own Hank Pellissier is our minister of mischief, preaching on humor and history. Brace yourself. Nothing is sacred in an irreverent service with scandalous limericks about our members, satirical observations, blasphemous jokes about religions, a quiz competition on best forgotten UU history, and ridiculous self-deprecating sing-alongs, with Virginia Hollins-Davidson as our liturgist, not to be missed next Sunday at 10:30 right here. Now we share responsibility for the home that we're creating here. Our shared plate partner for June is the Benin Lesbian Safe House, which provides shelter and support to lesbians in a traditionally homophobic West African nation. Well, I have the offertory music is Tenyo Sede. Yeah, but I want him to play first before we start walking around with the Okay, I addressed this in a text to you. Offertory music is, we like to have music, and all churches do this, and all places of worship have music while the basket is being passed, and that's the purpose of an offertory, is to, and people do listen, even though they're getting out their wallets or whatever. Yeah. So the Benin House provides trauma counseling and vocational classes in probiotic and fermented food and beverages preparation, so the women learn a skill and a trade. Half of our donations today go towards the $250 Safe House annual lease, and now I invite Ian to come up and play Tenyo Sede, which I believe is your composition, as our offertory music. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, it's a song by a great Brazilian composer, Dominguinhos, and Tenho Sede means I'm thirsty, and it's a beautiful kind of love poem that describes or compares our need for water to survive to our need for love to survive.
Traga-me copo d'água, eu tenho sede. E essa sede pode me matar. Minha garganta pede pouco d'água. E os meus olhos pedem seu olhar. A planta pede chuva quando quer brotar. O céu logo escurece quando vai chover. Meu coração só pede o seu amor. Se não me deres, posso até morrer. Traga-me um copo d'água, eu tenho sede. E essa sede pode me matar. Minha garganta pede um pouco d'água e os meus olhos pedem seu olhar. A planta pede chuva quando quer brotar. O céu logo escurece quando vai chover. Meu coração só pede o seu amor. Se não me deres, posso até morrer.
Thank you.
Ah, that was gorgeous. In Portuguese, wasn't it? Yeah. Let us dedicate our offerings to the work of this fellowship, which is creating beloved community within and beyond these walls. We dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Please read with us from the program. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of service. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Thanks again for joining us. Please stay and enjoy community and a light lunch. You're going to sing another song? Yes. Okay, come on up, quickly.
I'm going to sing The Waters of March by Antônio Carlos Jobim, as I believe is Melissa's favorite or one of your favorites. So a little birthday song.
É pau, é pedra, é o fim do caminho. É um resto de toco, é um pouco sozinho. É um caco de vidro, é a vida, é o sol. É a noite, é a morte, é o laço, é anzol. É peroba no campo, é o nó na madeira. Canga a candeia, é uma tita pereira. É madeira de vento, tombo da ribanceira. É o mistério profundo, é o queira ou não queira. É o vento ventando, é o fim da ladeira. É a viga, é o vão, festa da cumieira. É a chuva chovendo, é conversa ribeira das águas de março. É o fim da canseira, é o pé, é o chão, é a marcha estradeira. Passarinho na mão, pedra de atiradeira. É uma ave no céu, é uma ave no chão. É um regato, é uma fonte, é um pedaço de pão. É o fundo do poço, é o fim do caminho. No rosto um desgosto, é um pouco sozinho. É o strep, é um prego, é uma conta peixe, é um gesto, é uma prata brilhando, é a luz da manhã, é o tijolo chegando, é a lenha, é o dia, o fim da picada, é garrafa de cana, o estilhaço na estrada, é o projeto da casa, é o corpo na cama, é o carro enguiçado, é a lama, é o passo, é uma ponte, é o sapo, é uma rama. É um resto de mato na luz da manhã. São as águas de março fechando o verão. É promessa de vida no teu coração. É cobra, é um pau, é João, é José. É um espinho na mão, é um corte no pé. São as águas de março fechando o verão. É promessa de vida no teu coração. É pau, é pedra, é o fim do caminho. É um resto de toco, é um pouco sozinho. É um passo, é uma ponte, é um sapo, é uma rã. É um belo horizonte, é uma febre terçã. São as águas de março fechando o verão. É promessa de vida no teu coração.
Sure, it's the waters of March. Closing the summer is the promise of life in your heart.
A good message for our theme today of hope. Gorgeous. Thank you. Now, those of us who are here in person form a circle in our hall, and we sing together Circle Round for Freedom by Rabbi Linda Hirschhorn.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for relief, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle. As you leave this place in the presence of one another, may love be your guide and courage your companion, and may joy greet you with every turn. May you seek health and wholeness in all things, and exercise a generosity of substance and spirit in all that you do. And may the truth always come easily to your lips, even in this world that is often fearful and fractured and false. Despite this, strive to be happy, but remain unsatisfied until this world is made more fair and all her people one by what we do or leave undone. Go in peace, live in grace with gratitude, return again and again in love. Amen. Amen. Amen.
I keep going to the Quaker Church. I keep bringing people